How are you doing? Hello from Malaysia at Kuala Lumpur, and I'm I'm going to yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm going to talk about three defining moments in my life and how did they impact me. So I'm the first one is moving to China. When I turned 30, we moved to China. When number two, the defining moment is when I had my kids. And number three defining moment is when I met Bob. And then the whole social media presence have started. Fantastic journey. So number one, I lived in Russia. I was born in Russia. I grew up in Russia. I grew up Russian. And then I thought it's okay. We had quite good life, interesting experience. I lived in Moscow. Then we moved to Sakhalin Island. It's on the east of Russia, far east. We call it far east, Dальний Восток. Then everything was okay. My husband was working in oil and gas industry, and then he got offer to move to China, and I didn't know what is it China. Of course, we knew, and everything was shipped in China when the Soviet Union fell apart, and everything was completely broken. So we didn't have any clothes. And, yeah, it was tough times, but it was fun when I was a teenager, 1991. Then my husband got an offer, moved to China, and I thought, oh my gosh, how does China look like? We went to before we've been to Europe, we've been to Europe, few countries in Europe, and it was okay just for 2 weeks shopping. But then moving to China was completely new, unknown experience for me. Then I had one baby. This baby was 2 years old, and he was truly Russian. Also. And we moved to China, and what I found, it was interesting accident when we were about to move with tickets, but we didn't get, and we went to from Sakhalin to Seoul, and then we realized that we don't have visa to get to China, and then had to fly back to Sakhalin with my son, and then wait for 1 week, and then get back to China. But we applied for visa. So when we came to China, it was very interesting experience. But at that time, I was younger. I didn't really cry. Because I was busy with my kid, and that I was busy. Everything was new completely. When you're moving from monolingual country, Russia, to another monolingual country, China, you feel completely lost. But then I started taking classes, and then I sent my kid to kindergarten, and I thought, yeah, he needs a company, and he's kind of bored at home. But it turned out that he wasn't that bored at home. He needed me, and he was crying. When he was crying, I was I was carrying him, and he was crying like "Baba, Baba, Baba." Means, mommy, please take me on your hands. But not, I've realized, like, this one for my YouTube channel. I'm just practicing. Yes, yes. Three defining moments of my life, and then yeah, that was the experience. And then it was a Chinese kindergarten, and within Chinese kindergarten, they were very say welcoming us, and I felt good, even though I didn't speak English. I mean, not good English, and I didn't speak Chinese. I felt kind of okay. And it takes, how long does it take to get used to the new country? 8 months. So if in this 8 months your culture shock is not overcome, then it's kind of, so this country is not for you. But it took me 8 months, and I was busy, and then I got pregnant. So the culture shock wasn't as harsh on me as like I had late experiences moving to other countries. And yeah, I've been taking classes in Chinese, and then at the same time I was writing those notes in English and in Russian when I was taking Chinese classes. And then finally, it started working out. And then I've got so many friends, and most of them were from Denmark, and I love those friends. We still keep our relationship and friendship, even though on the long distances. and it was fantastic experience. Then we moved to Beijing. The first experience was in TEDA, Tianjin, and it was very interesting experience. We had very good people surrounding us. I've never had any experience in China to be, cheated on. Never ever had bad experience in China. Never ever in my 10 years life. Then we moved to, so the kids went to Chinese kindergarten, and then they went to a Chinese international school, TIS, fantastic school, TEDA International School in TEDA, Tianjin Economical Development Zone, fantastic school. And at that time, first, Russians as parents, we used to shout at children. I mean, we shout at children, and sometimes we spunk them. And most of the people were in school. They were from Canada. And then we had discussions. We had fantastic counselor, Lalida Schmalenberg. Hi, Lalida. Thank you very much for bringing this whole parenting experience, or turning down whole parenting experience. And then once I've asked her, why you don't shout at your children? And then she said, have you ever had courses on how to parent before you had kids? And I thought, oh, what is this? And that was like when you're getting ready to be a parent, you go through courses or a course how to be a good parent. So in Russia, of course, nobody does this. Nowadays, maybe they do, but at that time, nobody did this. And then you kind of on your own. When you move to another country, you're on your own. When you have children, you're on your own. And especially when you're abroad, you're out of your culture. As my Russian culture, as I grew up, and then the path is like your first person experience. You can go here, you can go there, like everywhere is unexpected journey. You can take this steps or that steps, and they might be risky. You don't know anything about the new path that you're taking. So that was, it was very interesting, and I'm glad that we've met the people from TED International School. It was a fantastic experience. And then Lalita, she was a counselor. She asked me, so how were you raised? And then what do we do as parents, not to shout at our children? And then gradually I became more aware of this parenting strategies, how to raise your children, not shouting at them. And then when you are from other country, you fresh off the boat, you join culture that you don't understand, but it was culture in culture. International school cultures are specific cultures. It's very different. And then they are in another country, which is a huge culture, and China is multinational, multicultural country, where and then you are as a person from another culture, and they call it TCK kids, third culture kids. So I was raising TCK kids, and it's extremely difficult to raise children in connecting to your culture and international school culture, and another circle that would be the country, different country. And so the pressure is tremendously high on you, but you don't, once you're young, you don't feel it. When you're growing older, and then children, they pass this 10-year-old and they turn into teenagers. This is the very uncertain times and very tough times. So that was the first defining moment, moving to China. Number two defining moments, as I mentioned, yes, having kids. So it's all together because, I moved to China with one child, and I had another child in China. So 2 children, and the whole experience of parenting and being a parent into multinational, multicultural environment, and keeping up your own culture, and then embracing other cultures and cultures of your friends. This is next level of being human being and global citizen. And I didn't know these words, global citizen. I've learned them later on when I started reading books about being a global citizen, a global nomad. So this experience defining moments, 2 moments of having kids, parenting, raising bilingual children. So I did everything that I could to make sure that my children could speak my language, mother tongue, Russian. And then at the same time, no, please, no, 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 on YouTube, please. No, practice, but on YouTube. Don't do it. Ничего не делай вообще. Просто ходи тихонько. Ты меня попросил уйти, я ушла. I was talking to my child. So the number 2 defining moment of raising bilingual children or raising multilingual children. So this is like I'm talking to you right now about it's in these specific terms, but back then I didn't know what is raising multilingual children. And so for me, keeping the Russian and getting Chinese and of course English, because this is international language and language of instructions in international schools, was extremely important. So how to keep up 3 languages in your family, or as modern parents saying, raising multilingual or trilingual children, it's very difficult. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of inspiration and discipline. So keeping your own language is tough because children at some point, when they turn 10, they resist. And the time that they spend with the parents is extremely, so it's getting less and less. And they spend time at school, they spend time with their children, with their kids. No, they spend time with the friends, and then they spend time on doing homework, on sports, and their hobbies. So it's less and less time is left for Russian as mother tongue to teach them. And then, but still, we need to keep the connection. So for me, that was very important. I was trying to install Russia and my household, but it was tough because you can install Russia, you can keep Russia, but the culture, you cannot resist the culture around you, international school culture and the country around you. So it was very tough, but Chinese was very extremely important, and I was learning Chinese, and I was speaking Chinese because I had fantastic nanny and fantastic people helpers. Our driver was a fantastic person. I had fun with Xiao Zhao. He was taking us around and then introducing Chinese culture. Nanny, Fudia, and then so this is my heart. That's why my heart is with China and with Chinese people, because there was the best experience, one of the best experiences in my life, exploring other cultures and then embracing this culture. And they English, of course. So I grew up Russian, and then we had barely very bad level of English at school. And then there was my goal to fit in this environment. And how to fit in this environment? You study English. It's impossible to live and be accepted in another country without knowing any language. So it's up to you guys. So if you want to be accepted by international community, study English. It doesn't matter what it takes. Study English. Go around, explore. But English makes you. This is your bridge, the gap that you need to close when you're moving from one culture, the monolingual culture like Russia, to another country. But this is like, if you want to be accepted, just study English, and that's it, and you will be accepted. And then try harder. So never stop learning. And my goal was never stop learning. I wanted to belong. The sense of belonging to a place you move. It's very important. So even though if you don't belong to the culture of this country that you moved in, the belonging to international school environment, very important. And I was looking for the sense of belonging, because when you leave one country, you kind of, your roots, you grew up there, but your roots are, you not dig them, you just rip off the roots, and then as a tree. So imagine the small plant growing into a tree, and then you got it out and plant it in another soil, And same with our children. So our children, they didn't have these roots because they were growing up in different countries. But then, so my task was giving them these roots at the same time, but and embracing other cultures and the feeling that they belong to these international community. Um, what so English, Chinese, and Russian, and then how did I keep these three languages in our household? I was studying myself always. Just I didn't. As I remember, as I look back, I started working from 17 years old, working and studying in the evenings. Like in Russia, it's very common. So working from 9 to 6 and and studying at university from 7 to 10, and it's been like this for 7 years. And then we moved to Sakhalin. Then I was working always studying something else like management and marketing with Open University. And then and I had a child. Then we moved to China. Then the whole new experience of raising kids in another country and parenting was also learning, because being a mother, like nobody taught me how to be a mother. I'm a tiger mom, as they call it in China, but mom that wants their kids to excel, because excellence is never an accident. It's always work. So going back to the languages, keeping up with languages and with my kids, how to keep up with your kids if they are in international school and you are from Russia. It's tough, but it's manageable. And then I was learning Chinese, I was learning English. When I had fantastic experience when we moved to Beijing. My youngest child went to Chinese kindergarten, and I've always followed my kids. I couldn't let them just go in kindergarten and do not check on them what's going on. And that's why how I met Maria Laushi, and it was children's house in Beijing, in Shuni. And then I've met fantastic people there, all Montessori educators, very passionate about their work and teaching children, different children, not even Chinese or international children. And then I applied for Montessori teaching degree there, and I had fantastic mentors, tutors, Marta Monahan from American Montessori Association, fantastic. And then I had to work for internship at Children's House. I chose Children's House where my youngest child was there, and it was fantastic, tremendous growth of personal and professional. Watching these educators, and it was dual language kindergarten, dual language immersion, half day in English, half day in Chinese. And I was looking at those teachers and was thinking, oh, come, this is fantastic. Your child can learn at the same one day in Chinese, in English, and then at home they would be speaking Russian to me. And then that's the life of bilingual, multilingual children. So 3 languages come easy because they just exposed to this environment. And then I thought, oh my gosh, I want to be like these teachers, like Maria Lausche. And then, yeah, I applied to the degree. I finished my internship. And at that time, so my children, they already were speaking 3 languages, Russian, Chinese, and English. And then I had to keep up with them. So I was doing the same, but at a little bit different levels, because I had other responsibilities that I had to juggle: parenting, cooking, cleaning, so all of these, and then studying at the same time, and being a good mother and a wife. So number 2 defining moment, that was the raising children, and then actually moving countries. We went to UK. Then we came back to China. I was very happy. UK, we had fantastic experience in the UK. We joined International School of London, and then it was Azbuka, a Russian school, Saturday Russian school, that we've got fantastic experience, sense of belonging. So once you move again to another country, you out of your roots, you out of your routine, and then how to belong to a new country. That was Russian school, Azbuka. There was that bridge that we could feel again accepted and belonging to our culture at the same time, and international school culture. ISL was a great school too. It was fantastic experience. But then I was missing my China. Everyone was missing China because we spent 6 years in China. Then I was pushing my husband back to get back to China, and then we just lived for a year and a half in UK and moved back to China in London. So what did we do in the UK? And we joined school Azbuka, and then I worked there as a teacher. I was teaching international. I was teaching Russian children, but they were all going to international schools. So that was the same concept of keeping bilingual, keeping those kids bilingual. At school, they were studying English as English of instructions, and on Saturdays they were studying Russian, and that it was fantastic concept of not studying Russian, just being immersed in the environment. We were doing shows, we were going for trips, we were going different directions to make it interesting for children to learn Russian. So you when you are interested, you don't feel like you learn Russian. You are in this environment, and this environment makes you feel confident. So once you feel confident, you feel great about yourself and about your friends. You feel, oh, that's so cool, and this is their life. Life of bilingual children is about having fun in one environment and another environment. And if they know third language, that means they can have fun and feel confident in another language environment. So that was the concept that I got. It was fantastic, very interesting experience. Then we moved back to China, and where I have been dreaming to, and we joined Montessori School of Beijing, and I've been always wanting to get there um, as an employee, as a teacher. And I've got this chance to get to Montessori School of Beijing and worked as a math specialist with grade 4, 5, and 6, because Montessori concept at bringing uh, three classes, 3 ages together, 3 to 6, 6 to 9, 9 to 12. And that was my best experience in my life, belonging to Montessori School of Beijing. And my child was there for 4 years, and this is the best, where I got most for my teaching and inspiration, how it was done, the dual language school, half day in Chinese, also half day in English. I love this. I love these teachers. All of them are fantastic teachers and very passionate. Truly Montessorians. And so when how I proceed to be just Russian, embraced all cultures, mostly Chinese culture and international culture, and then became a Montessori teacher. That was my, I would say, second defining moment. Yeah, from just being Russian to a person who could belong to international culture and becoming a Montessori teacher. So the second defining moment. And since that time, as I've absorbed the Montessori practices, I've learned. I got a degree in Montessori from I've got a degree in teaching early childhood in Montessori, 3 to 6 and 6 to 9, and I was studying on the program, another program with NMAC, North American Canadian Institute. And one more thing, I was I got the second degree in Montessori, and then it was time to move to Saudi Arabia. Moving to Saudi Arabia was a tough experience because I grew up very freely at the time when I was growing up. It was the collapse of Soviet Union, and we were thinking of that we're going to be a huge democratic country. Russia is going to be with bright future, and then there was no communist, no Komsomol influence. So we were kind of looking for democracy, and then McDonald's had opened in 1990. We were queuing up to get this burger and milkshake. Well, I had fantastic teenage years, and then my exploration of China made me so confident. Who am I? And then we moved to Saudi Arabia, and it was completely different. So Sharia country with Sharia law didn't work for me, and this experience also changed my life. in terms of who am I and what are the roles of men and women in the society. And again, I was pushing my husband to go back to China or another country, and we moved to Malaysia. Yeah, and I'm here in Malaysia. I've been here for 6.5 years, and going back to a defining moment of my life, number three, is mm, defining moment number three in my life is started teaching Russian in Russian science of culture, and having my own groups, having the responsibility of teaching these a few groups of children, and then designing curriculum for them, and then keeping in mind all my Montessori experience, all my experience that we had in the Russian school Azbuka in London. And then I've realized that I have a lot to teach. And I was experienced with my own children, because it's tough to teach your own children Russian, mother tongue. And finally, there was the COVID came. So COVID came, and then I was doing 2 years of online teaching, creating the whole curriculum, make it digital. And after COVID in Malaysia, we spent 2 years online. It was a very, very tough time. Then I was invited to work in Russian school Dacha, and then I worked there for 1 year, and I realized that it doesn't work for me. The things that work for me is becoming like opening my own school. So since last year, March, I have been working with Bob, and we were doing lots of reels. So I've started my media career, presenting myself in media. How can I present myself on social media from point of view as a educator, as a parent of multilingual children, as a bilingual person? Yeah, since that time, dreaming about my own school. I was dreaming about my Montessori inspired school, dual language as well, Russian and English, and adding another language. I don't know yet, but I have passion for Chinese. It's not that easy language, but I do want to know how to read and write, even though 我会说中文, and I'm very proud of it. But reading and writing, I didn't have time for this, so that's my goal. Next one, always keep goals to make your life interesting. Yes, and then I've been dreaming about opening my own school, and I did it. So having established my own school, that's a lot of work. I was thinking, oh, I'm gonna have my own school. Yes, this is so cool. It is cool, but it's a lot of work. And then yesterday I had a tough day from 9 to 5, and the children, they see me on that day, on Saturday. I want to make it fun, because if you studying for 5 days and then you go into Saturday school, it's kind of, oh my gosh, that's it. But it's not. And I do my best. I study and I learn different tricks to make this experience interesting. And with me, children have fun, and at the same time they learn, because I want them to feel they belong to Russian culture. They understand Russian culture and language, and then we learn different things through Russian language. And the language is just one more language. It's cool for your brain, and it's really cool. This is just an instrument for you to, to read from the sources that you can trust. You don't trust translation, you trust yourself. Yeah, so that was my school experience, and then working with Bob. That was fun. So let me. Camera. Yes, I was looking a little bit at myself, which I love doing this. So what is the question? Next one. I cannot see it, Bob. I cannot see it. It's somewhere. Yeah. What's better, Russian or Chinese food? Explain your reasons. Chinese. I love Chinese food. Why it's better than Russian food? It has flavors, different flavors. And then, so since that we've lived in China, Russian food tastes very plain, and we always add Chinese twist to Russian food, and it has this crunchiness and then saltiness and umami flavors, all this ginger, then 香菜, then 酱油, and then 芝麻酱. It just tastes very different. While in Russia we have only salt, pepper, whatever. We have the beetroot, and that's it. So Chinese food, of course, is better because I spent 10 years in my life in China, and then I used to have lots of cooking classes just to get to know how to get these flavors. And then I make fantastic dumplings. So if you guys are around, so please come. Russian food is good. I make it. Borscht is a good option. Syrniki, those are cheesecakes that I love them. I crave those syrniki, and I made lots of reels about syrniki, because what can be better? Chinese food, yeah. What can be better than beautiful morning, summertime? You go to the cafe, you have your syrniki somewhere in St. Petersburg or in Moscow. It's sun is shining. You're wearing your shorts. You have your syrniki with a bit of sour cream, a bit of jam, and it's beautiful, and coffee, and it's beautiful outside. My favorite Chinese food is 鱼香茄子. Number one, I love the flavors. I love everything. Dumpling, yeah, 饺子, of course, and dim sum. No, dim sum is Cantonese. I think something with ginger, definitely. What else I love? And the crispy stir fry, always stir fry. What else? And yeah, and 我会包饺子. Next question. 3 challenges of being a mother. First, there's always disruption. You don't belong to yourself. Once you have kids, there's always, you've been disrupted from your stuff, what you've been doing previously in your life. And you have to make the time. If you want to achieve your goals, you have to make the time for your own studies and for your life, for yourself, then time for your children, and then for your husband. But since we've been moving around, like being challenged with different languages, so I need to be always always studying to get to the next level, to get accepted in whatever the place we were moving in. So there's always lots of learning. So this is the number one, disruptions. Number two, you don't belong to yourself anymore until the kids are older. So you have to, and then you have to educate your kids. If you are out of your culture, you have to educate your kids. If you want to keep up with your culture, and you want the kids to know your culture, you have to educate your kids, and you have to study for this. And number three, you have to keep up with your own kids, because they study another culture in international school. And with this task, is a very challenging task. You have to grow with them all the time, because they grow, you kind of trying to keep up with them. They grow, and then you keep up. So you study IB history, try to study IB history and film, try to watch movies for IB film, and then you understand that you don't like those movies. But yeah, keeping up with kids in international schools, this is number 3 challenge. And it's interesting, I love it. Next question, please. Should new parents spend a lot of money on fancy strollers and all these products I cannot read it. So what's the question? It's kind of crossed out. I would say, please, question. I cannot say it. Spend a lot of money on strollers. I don't know, if you have a rich husband, why not? But at the same time, education is the key. I've been investing into education, my own education, my kids' education. Yeah, I would vote for education. It gives you different, completely, completely different feelings. Do you want to come? No, it's going to be on YouTube. Yeah. How much money should new parents spend on their kids? All of them, all of the money, all of money we should spend on the kids. Bob is asking. Uh-huh. Uh, of course not. Not traveling is a big part of our life. As being global citizen, global nomads, we do have budget for traveling because once you travel the world, you cannot stop. It's very contagious. Like every 2 months when we used to live in China, every 2 months we had to be out of the country because like China at the time it was very heavy pollution, and then everyone like on holiday break was out of the country. You could meet everyone from international school in the airport, but and then since that time, so you develop this itchy feet to get out of the country and then to embrace other cultures. So budgets for education, traveling. What else? No fancy strollers, not really. So next question, please. Oh, the Mark is in the room with me. Do you want to come? Yes, it's going to be posted. Say hi. Come. Hello, Mark. What are you eating?
Bilingual yogurt.
Bilingual yogurt.
Bilingual yogurt.
What does it say? Oh, dino or crocodile? Who's Mark? Mark with K or with C?
Okay.
With K. That's my baby, the youngest baby. This baby is senior, is graduating from ISKL, and this is my last year as a parent um, and as an investor of ISKL, and I love ISKL, and I love kids there. For more bilingual with Nadya. So ISKL kids, they inspire me a lot. Oh, Mark, what is the better, Russian food or Chinese food?
Whoa. That's a crazy question.
Oh, yeah. What is better, Chinese food or Russian food?
I feel like both really feel like home to me. Just because like the complexities and the fact that there's just so much more to it. I guess Chinese food.
Okay, question for IELTS. So explain in IELTS. You just passed the IELTS. Mark just passed the IELTS test and got 8 for speaking. All 3 nines for writing, whatever comprehension, and but all 8 for speaking. And Mark is the child who actually can challenge every educator from IELTS or whatever international school. One piece of advice for the audience: have your Chinese masu next by. If you're tired, completely exhausted after teaching or working, go reconnect with yourself through Chinese massage. And this is acupuncture. And I love the Chinese massage strokes. It brings you alive as soon as you just get out of this Chinese massage parlor. Follow for more bilingual with Nadya. Follow for more bilingual with Nadya. Thank you very much. I love you guys. Thank you. See ya. Bye.